So let us discuss UV spectroscopy, the theory involved behind the UV spectroscopy. So the basic concepts: frequency, wavelength, their units, the relationships, energy, etc., etc. So in the fundamental part of spectrophotometry, we discuss regarding the different colors of visible light versus their color absorbed as well as the color observed. So this chart is very important for colorimetric estimations. Many times in the literature, in the procedure, it is defined that you take the absorption of the particular sample by using a green filter, by using a violet filter, red filter. So these are the indications just for the ease of our experimental procedure. So the wavelength of maximum absorption, say for example 380 to 420. So the color which shows its absorption is a violet one, and the color observed is a green yellow color. So many times instead of instead of printing the same wavelength number on the filters, just simply the color is mentioned. So selection of the proper wavelength region is by using the color observed, or you may select it by using its wavelength. So now it is again very clear to you that the ground state and the excited state, how much the energy is absorbed. So in a simple way, light, that is the photons, shows or get absorbed at the ground state. When the molecule is at the ground state, there is absorption of light. Then next is the excited state, energy state, E0 to E1. So energy requires of photon to give these transitions. So delta E is equal to E1 minus E0. So likewise we can express the ground state as well as the excited state, as well as we can say that the energy difference. So mainly these energy absorption, again it's a basic, that is of Lambert's and Beer's law. How much the energy is absorbed, what about the color intensity, what about the wavelength, and what is the relationship in between the sample, say the solution, the nature of solution, and their absorption, electromagnetic radiations absorption. So to explain this with the help of Lambert's and Beer's law. So Lambert's and Beer's law is very much important to express the relationship between the electromagnetic radiations and the absorption phenomena. So first, the Lambert's and Beer's law, it relates with the absorption of light by a solution to the properties of the solution according to the equations. Say the absorption of light is directly proportional to the concentration. As per the Beer's law, it expressed that when the light falls on the sample, the absorption intensity is directly proportional to the concentration of the substance. Whereas the Lambert's law explains that the absorption phenomenon is mainly depends upon the thickness of the sample. So Lambert's and Beer's law is very important to express the relationship in between the absorption of light by the solution and its properties. So capital A, that is the absorption, is equal to epsilon into B into C. So where epsilon is the molar absorptivity of the absorbing species. So these things are very important while performing the practicals, calculations of the absorptivity. What do you mean by the molar absorptivity? What do you mean by the specific absorption? absorption, etc., etc. B is the path length and C is the concentration of the absorbing species. So Lambert's and Beer's law is very important again. So again, coming to our main topic, that is ultraviolet spectroscopy. What is the theory involved behind the UV spectroscopy? So as it is now very clear to you that saturation and unsaturation is very well detected by the ultraviolet spectroscopy. So when a group is more polar in the ground state than the excited state. So how to identify whether there is a presence of unsaturated groups or unsaturated groups? So even yesterday in the last lecture we discussed, if unsaturation is there, so obviously there is a presence of different types of the bonding, or say the electronic involvement. So carbonyl group is there, as we say the electronegative atoms are there. So obviously there is a presence of the non-bonded electron pair. If unsaturation, that is double bond or triple bond is there, there is a presence of the pi bonding. And if it is a saturated one, there is a presence of the sigma bonding and the sigma electrons. So based on the type of the electron is involved in the bonding, the further spectroscopy is observed and studied. So as usual, as per our previous discussion, different types of the electrons are involved. Say for example, the sigma electrons, pi electrons, and the non-bonded electrons are involved in the bonding in the structure of atom or molecules. So based on this, the electronic transitions are classified. Say pi electrons are present in unsaturated hydrocarbons, double bond or triple bond or aromatic compounds. N electrons are present, are involved in some organic compounds containing the examples nitrogen, oxygen or halogens. So such type of the electronic transitions are occurs, that is from ground state to the excited state, known as the bonding to anti-bonding. Bonding to anti-bonding phenomenon is observed. So let us start with the different types of the electronic transitions observed in UV spectroscopy. So first one is sigma to sigma star type of transitions. Based on the electrons involved in the bonding, different types of the electronic transitions are observed in the UV spectrophotometry. So first electronic transitions involved is the sigma to sigma star type of transitions. So sigma electrons from the orbital is excited to the corresponding anti-bonding orbital. So obviously the energy required is large for this type of transitions. Even yesterday I asked you regarding this, why the energy is required more for sigma to sigma star type of transitions. Obviously sigma to sigma star or sigma bonding is a strong bonding as compared to the pi bonding. Sigma bonding is a strong one as compared to the pi bonding. Why sigma bond is strong? Because it is an axial overlapping of the orbitals. Sigma bonding is a strong bonding because there is an axial overlapping of the orbitals. That's why it is strong as compared to the pi bonding. So the example you can see here, methane. All these are the saturated compounds where the involvement, the bonding are sigma electrons. So example, methane CH bond can undergo sigma to sigma star type of transitions and shows the absorption maxima at 125 nanometer. Now it is again very clear to you that the ultraviolet spectroscopy, the range is 200 to 400 nanometer. UV range 200 to 400 nanometer, and below 200 nanometer it is known as the vacuum ultraviolet region. It is known as the vacuum ultraviolet region, UV region below 200 is for saturated compounds. 200 to 400, the region is for unsaturated compounds. Okay. So methane is an example where CH bond consists of, or there is involvement of the sigma electrons, sigma bond, and then it shows the sigma 2 sigma star type of transitions, and that's why it requires more energy to excite the electrons from the sigma bond to its antibonding orbital, because sigma bonding is a strong one. Sigma electrons, the involvement or formation of the orbitals bond is in axial overlapping, so it requires more energy. So below 200, if you see the spectrum again in terms of the nanometer, so 200 to 400 UV unsaturated region, below 200 it is a saturated region. So below 200 means higher energy content, above 200 it is lower energy content. So in each spectroscopy, the numbering of electromagnetic radiation spectrum according to their wavelength or frequency, or you can say energy content, so it varies just for the ease of an understanding. So below 200 means higher energy, above 200 means lower energy. So methane, involvement of the CH bond, it is of sigma bond, undergoes sigma to sigma star type of transitions, and this shows the absorption maxima at 125 nanometer, which is a higher range, higher energy content in electromagnetic radiation spectrum. So second electronic transitions involved is pi to pi star type of transitions. As the name that pi to pi star type of transitions, bonding to anti-bonding, pi bonding to pi anti-bonding type of transitions, ground state to next higher excited state transitions, shifting. So involvement of the pi electrons in a bonding orbital is excited to corresponding anti-bonding orbital, pi orbital. So compounds containing multiple bonds like alkenes, alkynes, carbonyl, nitriles, aromatic compounds, etc. Where there is involvement of pi electrons, it will show pi to pi star type of transitions. So examples, alkenes generally shows the absorption in the region 170 to 205 nanometers. 170 to 205 nanometers. Third one, N to sigma star type of transitions. Now this is the third type of transitions. Even the fourth one, N to sigma and N to pi star of type of transitions, because these are the non-bonded electrons. These are the non-bonded electrons. That's why there is a possibility of the shifting of the electrons from its non-bonding to sigma anti-bonding and N to pi anti-bonding orbital. So N to sigma star type of transitions, these are involved mainly in saturated compounds containing the atoms with lone pair of an electrons, like oxygen, nitrogen, as well as sulfur and halogens. These are capable of N to pi star type of transitions. Saturated compounds with electronegative, or there must be a presence of an non-bonded electrons. In such compounds where there is a presence of saturated bonds, or say the saturated compounds along with